Welcome into day 6 of our countdown here, Fright fans. Yesterday we looked at Boris Karloff's Thriller, which featured the horror host Attila Nesmith as the Old Woman. That's right, the Old Woman. She was a pretty cool host. I wish some footage existed, but the pictures that we have are fantastic. She was in Life magazine and got all kinds of coverage being right there in Hollywood. It's really a major plus when it comes to getting that media coverage there. So yeah, good for her. All right, let's see what we got next. Our next movie we're going to look at is a bona fide classic that many of you out there knew had to pop up on this list, and that is Night of the Living Dead. The unburied dead are returning to life to seek the flesh of the living in this 1968 classic from director George A. Romero. A group of survivors holes up in an abandoned farmhouse and tries to survive the night, surrounded by hordes of ravenous ghouls. The reason for this resurrection of the dead is never definitively explained, but it doesn't matter. The dead have come back to life and humanity must struggle to survive. This low-budget, independently produced film was shot on 35mm, mainly in and around the Pittsburgh area for a minuscule budget, with a cast of amateurs and first-time filmmakers, yet became one of the most influential horror films of all time. It's one of the greatest success stories in film history. However, due to an error at the processing lab, the copyright was removed from the film before distribution, causing the film to famously slip into the public domain. The side effect of this, however, is that it became a staple on late-night television programming across the country, helping to cement its legacy as well as that of its director, George Romero. During the film, a group of reporters and television stations converged to try to get a handle on what's going on. Among the reporters there is Bill Cardille for station WIIC Channel 11 out of Pittsburgh. WIIC was a real station in Pittsburgh, and Bill, who was an announcer at the station at the time, was basically playing himself on screen. In fact, he was one of the original 6 announcers at WIIC when the station first signed on the air in 1957.
This is Bill Cardille, WIIC TV 11 News.
He is remembered perhaps most fondly by Pittsburgh natives as late-night horror host Chilly Billy Cardille, host of Chiller Theater.
And may all your dreams come true in the new year. Welcome to WPXI Saturday Late Show, the last in the current 20-year series of Chiller Theater. They told me 20 years ago you're going to do it until you do it right. Last week I did it right, and I'm going on. Oh, gee. Anyway, my first chiller tonight is the classic Wolfman. And my second feature is It Came from Outer Space with Barbara Rush and Richard Carlson.
The show was wildly successful and ran on the air in Pittsburgh from 1963 to 1984, with Cardille hosting on Saturday nights as Chilly Billy without costume or makeup. Along the way, the show added more characters such as Terminal Stare and Stefan the Castle Prankster. The show memorably opened each episode with Al Ciola's version of Experiment in Terror. Bill Cardille reprised his role of the reporter in the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead, directed by Tom Savini. He continued to work in television and radio for decades and made public appearances for fans after his retirement. Chilly Billy was one of the horror host greats and is remembered fondly to this day. So Night of the Living Dead, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, one of my favorite films of all time, not just horror movies, favorite films, and Chilly Billy Cardille, boy, he was great. I met Chilly Billy several times, probably I think 3 times at the Monster Bash convention. Every time, once he found out I was a horror host, every time I saw him, he acted like we were best friends. I mean, he was always so warm, so friendly, gracious with his time. I interviewed him multiple times. He was one of the best, one of the greatest horror hosts of all time, and deserves to go on any list of top horror hosts. I love his theme music, and in fact, that theme music is the ringtone for my phone. So I'm a Bill Cardille fan, and I'm a Night of the Living Dead and George Romero fan, and I love everything about this movie. So this gets 5 skulls. Some of you out there might say, yeah, but Night of the Living Dead's a little slow. listen, this film is a slow burn. You need to work on your attention span, maybe, because a slow burn film like this that was so impactful, it eclipses the source material. It's bigger than what these guys ever could have imagined. The fact that it slipped into the public domain just made this film all that much more popular. And it was shown over and over, and really it launched Romero's career. So 5 skulls for this movie. That ending is still a gut punch that gets me every time when Dwayne Jones's character is shot. I don't care how many times I've seen the film, and I watch it annually every Halloween. When it gets to that ending, it's always just so impactful. Just gets me every time. So Night of the Living Dead, let me know what you guys think about that movie. Surely you love it. It's one of Romero's top 3. I've always said he's got like 3 perfect films, Romero. He made Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead. Actually, he had 4 or 5 perfect. It was 5 perfect films. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Creepshow, and Martin. Any of those 5 films, I think you could put in order of a favorite or best George Romero movie, and I wouldn't be mad about any of the 5 of them. So check out my George Romero top films of Romero. I'll put the link down below. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. I'll quit talking about Romero, Night of the Living Dead, and Chilly Billy Cardille now, and we'll talk more horror host stuff tomorrow night. Join me back here in the lab. Till then, stay mad.
Dr. Gangrene, I hear you have a big audience down there, huh?
Well, it is growing all the time. Yeah, we're on UPN now. So.
I tell you, can't get much better than that.
All right, well, thanks, Chilly. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Pittsburgh's finest horror host of all time, Chilly Billy Cardille.
All right.